Today we are talking about Chapter 3, Lesson 5, which can be found on pages 183 through 186. Our objective is I can estimate a quotient by using rounding and compatible numbers. Vocabulary, compatible numbers. Question 1. If you are dividing 550 by 8, which two multiples of 8 would you use? Which one is closer? Question 2. What operation can you use to check your answer? This video will show you how to estimate quotients.
Incompatible numbers here are because if I rounded 477 to the greatest place value position, I would round it to 500, and 500, you can't use mental math to divide that evenly by 6. So I'm going to use compatible numbers to make it easier. There are two different compatible numbers I could use here, but one of them will give me a closer estimate. So I know that 4, one single digit, cannot be divided by 6. So I'm going to look at both of these digits, and that's why they're underlined in a different color. We're going to look at those underlined digits. This digit to the right of it is going to turn into a 0 because we are still rounding in a way. We're just finding numbers that are easy to divide by 6. So if I'm trying to figure out what number is closest to 47 that 6 will divide into evenly, I think about skip counting by 6s maybe. So I might go 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. 42 is kind of close to 47. Let's keep that one in mind. We'll just write it down over here. 42, 48. Okay, that's another number that's close to 47. So now I'm going to write one of those on top. So we're going to put 48 right here because that is an overestimate, but it's a compatible number we could use. And as I said, I'm going to turn that 7 into a 0. So I just found the number closest to 47 that is divisible by 8. 6 times 8 is 48. Then I'll rewrite my problem and underline my non-zero digits. 48 divided by 6 equals 8. And then I just add my remaining 0 after that. 80. Okay, now let's do the one underneath it. 42, we said, was close to 47. And we'll turn that 7 into a 0. It's not underlined. Underline our non-zero digits. 42 divided by 6 is 7. And 400, oh, there we've got to add our 0. We've got a 0 over there, don't we? So the compatible number underneath comes up to 70, and the one above it comes out to 80. One of those will be a closer estimate. Ideally, the one that is closest, whoops, I'm writing all over the place. The one that is closest to 47 should come out as a closer estimate. So which one of these is closer to 47? That's right, 48 is closer to 47. It's 1 away from 47. 42 is 5 away from 47. So it's not nearly as close, and our answer is not going to be as close to the actual answer. So let's do some practice problems. Our first one is 312 divided by 5. A quick note of advice. Check first to see if you can easily round to the greatest place value and if you can divide that number by 5 using mental math. If you can't, then use compatible numbers to solve it. Pause and push play when you're ready. Did you write 60? Let's see how we did that. So first we'll try to round to the greatest place value position. So that would be this 3 here. That's the greatest place value position. And when I round that, I round it to 100. Let's see. 3 is not divisible by 5, but 30 is divisible by 5. Even though that's one of the zeros, I'm going to use that as my underlined number. So I want to make sure I keep it underlined so that I know not to add that as a 0 later. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. Now I just have 1 0 left over to add on there. So 300 divided by 5 is 60. Number 2.
Okay, so let's take a look at this in our book. I'm on page 183. In this first example, it starts with 365 divided by 3. So if we're using compatible numbers, we can think of what would be easily divided by 3. So in this case, we could just look at, let's see, well, I know 36 can be divided by 3, so I could make this number 360 divided by 3. So then you can just do that in your head. So let's turn this on. So 360 divided by 3, 36 divided by 3 is 12, and then we just put that 0 on the end. So our answer would be 120. So then it reminds you that you can check your answer by multiplying. So you can do 120 times 3 to make sure you got that 360, that you were correct with the quotient you came up with from your compatible number. Okay, example 2 is a little different than the video. It's the same concept though. In this case, it's talking about rounding both of the numbers, so it's compatible numbers, and it will help you estimate. So with this one, if we're going to round both of our numbers, we can think of rounding 208. Well, that's pretty close to 200. And what is 8 pretty close to? That would be easy to divide by, because 200 divided by 8 would be a little tricky to do in our heads. So if we can also change the divisor. So we can change 8 to 10, because that's only 2 away. So we round it up to 10, and our problem would be 200 divided by 10. So 200 divided by 10 we can do mentally, and we know that that's 20. So 208 divided by 8 is about 20. Your homework helper on page 187 also shows when you round the dividend and the divisor, and it walks you through the steps of these. So in this case, it's 488 divided by 9. So it's easy to think about. 488 is close to 500, so we can just round that up. And 9 we know is really close to 10. So again, this would be an easier way to use compatible numbers, so you can just do it in your head. You can do 500 divided by 10, and you know that it's 50. Okay, so let's look back at our questions. So question 1, if you're dividing 550 by 8, which 2 multiples of 8 would you use? So that was like in our video that she was talking about, where she picked 2 numbers that were close to 55 so that she could easily divide by 8. So think about that. What are 2 multiples of 8 that would be close to here that you could use? And then figure out which one's closer. So remember how she circled in the video the one that was closest to 55 and gave her the best estimate. Question 2, what operation can you use to check your answer? If you can't think of this one, I would look back at that first page of your textbook where it says in that section ways to check your answer.